So, I should have made this video a long time ago. The game left early access in March last year, and the review I made sometime before that was a bit mean. Not really negative, but mean enough for me to feel really bad now. So it seems I've been feeling bad for a year now and I haven't done anything about it. But maybe better late than never. Hi, it's Leaf, and today we are taking another look at Sunhaven. As I already mentioned, I am not exactly happy with my previous review of this game. If you want, you can check it out for yourself, the link should pop up somewhere on the screen right now. I still stand by most of the stuff I said, but I am aware of how condescending and unfair it sounded, and I even acknowledged it in that video. In a nutshell, I called the game childish and tropey, and I basically said that it's style over substance, and that was rather silly of me. Complaining about Sunhaven not being serious enough or being over the top, especially visually, or too tropey is like complaining that a comedy is funny. At least I had enough intelligence to notice that maybe I am not the target. And you know what? That kinda was my problem, but we'll get to that later. So, let's try again. This time I'm not gonna talk about the mechanics and other aspects of gameplay because I already did. Instead, let's talk about what Sunhaven is. While I still feel that the writing is not always what it could be, I need to apologize for criticizing the fact that the game uses stereotypes and tropes. It does, and how, but I have no idea why I thought it was silly. Previously I said that playing Sunhaven is like reading a fanfic, and that it kind of feels like a guilty pleasure of sorts. And I was correct, but that's exactly what it's supposed to be. This game is a collection of elements that are intended to bring pleasure to people with specific tastes, mostly people who like high fantasy and anime. But high fantasy and anime are very broad concepts, and this game tries to cover as many aspects as possible, which I find quite impressive. And at the same time, it is very careful to remain a feel-good, light-hearted experience, which is simply commendable. The simplicity of Sunhaven's plot makes it very universal, and that's that. I also criticize the fact that the characters are very stereotypical. Yes, they are. And again, they're supposed to be. The players are supposed to find their favorite types, their favorite tropes, and just enjoy them. There's nothing else to it, just enjoy what you like. There is a traditional human town, a dark monster city, drenched in neon light, there's a castle on a lake of lava, there's an enchanted forest, an elven village. Here, pick your poison and have fun. You like cute pink cat girls? Or maybe mysterious, reclusive, handsome men who live in big empty houses and may or may not be vampires. Here you go. As you can see, those are very specific archetypes, and they are popular. For a reason. And this game covers so many of them. It doesn't try to deconstruct them, well, maybe a little, but mostly it presents them in their purest form. It's very self-aware, doesn't apologize for it, and it makes the players feel welcome. I complained that the characters themselves are rather shallow and predictable, and we don't get to explore them too much, but now I think it's a rather wise choice. Because if you're dealing with a specific archetype, the deeper you go, the greater the risk of moving away from it. The characters in Sunhaven are more like dolls, and I mean it in a good way. You get what you see. And that's the beauty of it. You go for an archetype, and you get that exact archetype. And if you want, you can fill in the blanks yourself with whatever you like. I know very well what it's like to think that you're dealing with a certain type of character, a type you actually really enjoy, only to witness this character develop into something slightly different. Just a few details, and the whole thing is ruined. So, after thinking about it, I am actually pretty grateful to Sunhaven for not delving too deep and not making characters more complex. In my previous review, I also complained that the game's visuals are too detailed and colorful, so detailed in fact that it's a bit suffocating, and now, while I agree that some things really are too over the top, it's not really a problem. It's a style, it's whimsical and magical and generous. Nivara is still Ghibli on LSD though. But it's fine, it matches the game, it matches its tone and its atmosphere. I am not a fan of the character portraits, I won't lie, and not even the portraits as such, just some of the facial expressions. They just don't look right, they don't look convincing. And let's leave it at that. But portraits of the newer characters like Shang or Mion show clear progress, so there's that. Anyway, what is it that made me change my mind about my general approach to the game? Why did I stop being a captious spoilsport and allowed myself to simply have fun? Well, remember when I said I wasn't exactly the target audience? Well, technically I was. Everything I generally like was there. And yet, and let's be absolutely clear, it's about the characters. And yet, I couldn't find my quote-unquote gang. I couldn't find that many characters I would like to become friends with or that I would like to romance. And I was somewhat unhappy about it. I simply felt left out. But it's not like my review was some weird form of revenge. It's not like I was trying to be mean to the game because I felt left out. I didn't even realize I felt left out. I honestly felt like the tropes presented in Sunhaven were, I don't even know how to put this, outdated in a way, or aimed at people that are much younger than myself, because I haven't been into those tropes and archetypes for a long time. I used to be, obviously, but by now I find them so familiar and I'm so used to them that I lost my rose-tinted glasses. So I was simply not excited enough. And that spiraled into me overthinking stuff and being overly critical and focusing on the wrong things. I fixated on the fact that because it's something I would have liked a lot more when I was much younger, it must be naive, and since it's naive, it must be somehow worse than it could be. And because I'm a cynical old hag, I didn't allow myself to experience this game as what it is, an innocent, rich pile of tropey, pop cultural goodness. And I am not exactly proud of how I realized I was looking at it the wrong way, because it kinda came to me after I got catered to, after I got the archetype that I like. Pixel Sprout simply reached into a set of tropes that I still consider fresh because I discovered them relatively recently and produced a character specifically for people like me. And Chinese drama fans. And believe me, I realize how silly it sounds. But it turns out that I had to feel taken care of to realize what this game actually does. And what it does is it gives you a bit of what you like, a lot if you're lucky, and it just lets you have fun with it. It is an ultimate fantasy in a cute, innocent form. Yes, it's not everyone's fantasy, but it is versatile enough to cater to many. The thing is, it didn't specifically cater to me. So instead of focusing on having fun in my corner of Neverland, I decided I should complain that everything I see, I've already seen before. Of course I have. That's the point. The fact that people over at Pixel Sprout decided to add new characters based on archetypes from different media, and specifically Chinese and Korean media, shows that they are very aware of their audience. And the flawless choice of specific tropes and the obvious familiarity with the topic shows that they themselves are their own audience. So yes, it seems they literally made a game they wanted to play, which is great. But this is something I already noticed before, and I kinda almost made fun of that, and now I feel stupid. So again, Sunhaven is blatantly tropey, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It has its flaws, but as I already said in my previous video, it never apologizes for what it is, and it never pretends to be anything more. So, I got my initially called reticent warrior prince and my mandatory rooftop date, and it made me happy enough to ignore his animal ears and tail. Which also made me aware that if you get one thing that you really like, it will be easier to look past all the stuff you're not so sure about. I still hate the rock monster boss fight though, because it takes you and 2 allies half a day to remove it, and it doesn't even defend itself. You just sit there literally holding left mouse button for 10 minutes, if not longer. The last time I was this bored while gaming was when I played The Path, the ultimate slow walking simulator. But that was an art game, so yeah. In any case, I no longer think that Sunhaven is too silly or too shallow. It's exactly what it aims to be, and it's actually one of the nicest and most interesting games of this particular genre. Do I love it unconditionally? Absolutely not. Do I think it could be better? Definitely. As I said, I would change the writing here and there. I don't quite understand why the opening scene of the game chooses to follow Lynn, of all people. Sunhaven is also one of very few games I actually play with the music off. Not because it's bad, but because it's terribly repetitive. The pieces are simply too short. But all in all, I think it's a very good game that, despite being one of many, actually manages to be absolutely unique. Alright, I do feel a little bit better. So that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video. Take care.